It's the first time I've ever tried to do a video series on a car build, so I've not been excellent about the updates. I think the last video I made, I was possibly looking at the dash, which led into the seats, which led into the fact that I didn't have enough room, so I needed a different gas tank that would give me more seating room. So the gas tank's on order. It'll be here this weekend, and then I'll be able to put it in, put the seat back in, make sure the ergonomics are right, then I can work on the shifter and the dash. So in the meantime, the transmission came out. I know I showed that. It's at the transmission shop getting the limited slip installed. Motor came out as well for two primary reasons. One, I wanted to change the headers. I wanted to check it out and make sure everything looked okay. It wasn't rebuilt when it went back in. Needed to mount the AC compressor on it. Also wanted to change the color of the intake manifold and the turbo piping, valve covers, anything that was red I wanted to get not red. So and red's not going to be on the color of the car, so the alternator was red. So all that's off to get I'll get the sandblaster out and blast all that and get it powder coated, hopefully this weekend. So I'm waiting on blasting cabinets so that I can sandblast. So the motor's on hold, transmission's at transmission shop, but want a gas tank before I can continue with the seating. So I decided to move on to radiator. And the radiator that was in here was a stock radiator. Radiator that was in here was a stock radiator, which worked fine, but it's set up above the bar here with the cap a good almost 2 inches. And I wanted to put a recess in the hood, and that was going to be in the way of it. So I've got a generic Griffin radiator here, much smaller. The cap is on the side, so it gets it into the corners here. Even if it does stick up above the bar, it won't be in the way of the recess I want to put in the hood. But it'll actually sit below that. So I'm working on mounts for the radiator. And the way the old radiator mounted was it had two spikes that stuck off the bottom and two that stuck off the top. And these little bushings went in that little hole there, and the spikes in the radiator stuck in the little bushing. And then on the top, spikes stuck into the top here. So I'm going to recreate a similar type mount, except for this radiator is a little bit narrower. So I'm in the process of making mounts that will hold the bushing right here and here, just on the inside of these, and then these I will just I'll make a new pop rivet a little bit inwards, and then I will I got some studs, some 1/4-20 threaded studs that I will just bond on here to the radiator and mount it the same way. So I was in the process of making the first mount. I knew this probably wouldn't work, but I tried to use a regular hole saw bit like you'd use on a piece of wood, on a piece of 3/8 metal, and it got about, I don't know, 2/3 of the way through. And as you can see, there's no teeth left on the bit, so I'll have to get the proper drill bit to drill the hole. I can probably go ahead and cut that. I wanted to cut it. I wanted to try and drill it before I cut it. It gave me more to hold on to while I was working the drill press, but I'll go ahead and cut it and get them measured. And I'll pick up a drill bit tomorrow or the next day, a metal bit that'll cut a 1 1/4 inch hole. And I'll get those drilled and mounted, and then I'll bond the studs on, and I'll have a radiator mount. And then by then I'll have a blasting cabinet. I can move back to blasting everything that needs to get powder coated. So a short video for today. Hopefully I didn't go over anything twice, but I'm trying to be good about the video updates. So